About a year and a half ago, my son had passed away, and I wrote this poem for his funeral. It expresses a lot of kind of my life with my son, Jeffrey. So, from the start, I knew you would have challenges to face. I couldn't pave the way for you as you searched to find your place. There were days my heart would melt. You were so pure and kind. You also marched to your own beat, and I thought I'd lose my mind. Your world was joy and turbulence. It's how you felt inside. You couldn't break free from inner pain, no matter how you tried. For years, I tried and failed to fix your life and burdened soul. Then I learned to simply love you, knowing Christ would make you whole. I'm grateful for all you brought me, aggravation, joy, and tears, or tears and joy. You became a man, but with that grin, I still see my little boy. You left this world and went on home. You had run your race. You're free and whole, and I'll hold you soon in the warmth of God's embrace. Love, Mom. So the poem really represents kind of all my life with Jeff. He had a troubled start from the beginning. His birth mother did drugs and alcohol, and so Jeff had some processing and some challenges kind of right out the chute. And but he was pretty funny and joyful and loved kids and playful and always had that boyish heart. His challenge, though, is that he wanted to belong. He wanted to be respected and thought well of, and he wanted to belong. And when he couldn't really fit in and belong, he settled for fitting in. And that posed a lot of challenges for him, trying to kind of run away from that inner pain that he felt. Even as a little boy, there were nights when we'd pray, and I'd tuck him in, and he'd say that he wished that he wasn't alive. It was really hard. It kind of broke a mother's heart. And he grew and had challenges and, again, trying to make friendships and find his place. His best experience, I think, in his whole life was when he was on the Warrior football team in his senior year. And the coaches didn't really want him on there. They thought, he wasn't experienced. He probably wouldn't get play time. But I convinced him to just let him be a part of the team. It was important to him. And he ended up getting Scout Player of the Year. He was positive. The team loved him. And it was, I think, the first time in his life that he felt that he belonged. His attitude was great. He was happy. And then, of course, the season ended. Friendships kind of returned to their own groups, and he, again, kind of lost his place. And to fill that void and that inner pain, he started experimenting with substances, turning to things like I think we all do when we have pain that we don't really want to press into. We look for other things to either mask it or numb it. It could be substances, or it could be work, or hobbies, or exercise, or pornography, or anything that causes us to not face, I think, what we're dealing with. And for Jeff, it was substances, and he would try different things, and it worked for him. It was his solution. He felt good. He felt happy when he was using. And then over time, it was kind of a turbulent road. He moved out to Denver and was homeless for quite a while. And then it got harder. It was, heroin and fentanyl. And things, got really tough. Definitely hard for me. And I spent a lot of time advising, and you need to do this. And I tried to get him into treatment twice, and it didn't last. I think one day he left the first hour, and the next it was one day. But I kept advising, trying to encourage him, and wishing I could just kidnap him and lock him up someplace and just give him all the help he needs. And obviously that's not a solution. I met a man in the Twin Cities named Freddie. He was formerly homeless, and he told me the story about his sister, who they eventually found overdosed in, I think, the streets of Chicago. And as he shared his story with me, and I told him a little bit about Jeff and my struggles. And he gave me the best advice that I'm so grateful for. And that was, he said, Jeff already knows what you're going to say. He already knows what you want for him, what you would like his life to be like. So just love him. Just love him where he's at. So I made a commitment to do that. And when Jeff called me on the phone, I talked with him about it, and I told him, look, I'm going to really try hard to stop telling you what to do and to stop giving you advice and just love you. But you have to know that by doing so, it doesn't mean that I don't love you, because that was my way to show you love. I was trying to help you all the time, and it's not working. So I said, I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to love you and listen to you. And his response was, Mom, that's all I wanted. So then it was good, for probably about 4 months. when he would call, it was still hard, but he would call and he would talk to me about just life and his challenges on the streets and how he'd try to help people. Some good stories that were really tender and heartwarming, and some very scary stories for a mom, knowing what he was enduring and going through. And then one day he called and said, Mom, I checked into the jail. I turned myself in. I knew I had some warrants out there for missing court dates. I need help. I can't get off fentanyl, and I need to. It's going to take me out. So I turned myself in so I can get clean, and which was wonderful. I had some hope again. And he was in jail for about a little over a month, and I got to talk to him frequently, which was really, really great. Tried to come up with a plan. Okay, you're getting out, and what's going to be the plan, and how can we, make this most successful? And so I talked with him the night before, and he got out, and the next time I heard of him was when the police officer came to our door. So apparently he had tried to check into a hospital after he was released, and they didn't hold him or keep him. And the coroner said that likely then that same day he, after being clean for 4 to 6 weeks, he probably returned to his usual dose, and it was too much for him, and so probably likely an accidental overdose. And they found him on a city bus in Denver, and that's how I knew. So it's very hard. I miss him, obviously, every day. Even all the chaos and stuff that he did bring into our world, there was so much more joy that made it worth it. So it's a hard story. I know it's not an uncommon story. A lot of people are hearing this and have to deal with this. So my encouragement, I guess, is for whatever you use to avoid pain, is to not to press into it, to make room for it, accept it, and find other ways, because there's so much more to life, so many more ways to find that vitality that you're missing. So I wish he was here to see his nieces and nephews and grow, and I know he would love that. So no matter what, all the things that he's done in his life, I still see him, that little mischievous grin of my little boy. Thank you for letting me share his story.